Welcome to a new installment of the Advice Annex with me, JP Metz, the show where I give you guys my own 2 cents based on my own personal life experience. Now, just a reminder, I have absolutely no degree in anything. I'm not a counselor, I'm not a doctor, I'm not any kind of practitioner of anything, but like I said, I got my own life experience, and if I feel like I can help you guys with something, I will certainly try to do that. So, if you have got any questions and you need advice, please call me. The number is 732-529-5772. Don't panic, there's instructions, but if you're too nervous to do that, you can email me at theadviceannex@gmail.com. Just try to remember to include your name, age, and general location. Though I'd really love it if you guys would call me. I actually didn't get any new calls since my last episode. It's kind of a bummer. So, yeah, please call me. That would be preferred. But emails are fine too. I'll certainly answer your emails. And I'll be answering all emails today. I'm still so behind on emails, so this may actually be a blessing in disguise that I don't have any calls, so yeah, this might be good. So, why don't I get right to the questions? Usually I like to talk a little bit about something in the beginning of these episodes, but the season premiere of Grey's Anatomy is on tonight. I got kind of a time restriction. I'm sure you guys can understand. I mean, it's Grey's after all. So, okay, our first email today comes from Matt. Matt is 18 and he lives in South Australia. Matt says, along with a whole bunch of crappy things that happened to her, like a pet dying and job rejections, my best friend was dumped recently out of her first ever relationship. It lasted for 1.5 years and it came out of nowhere. She still loves this guy a lot. She's understandably sad and keeps mentioning wanting to do things unlike herself, like getting piercings and tattoos and going overseas. I've never had a boyfriend or anything like that before, so I don't really know how it feels, and I'm not sure what I can do to help. I just want her to feel better. It makes me really sad to see her so hurt by such a D-bag. So I was wondering if you have any tips for friends to help friends who are going through bad breakups. Well, this I can certainly understand. This I can certainly relate with. I have had plenty of friends that have gone through something like this, and the first thing I want to say is it's kind of, you say that she's kind of hurting by this, moving past it, although painfully, involving herself in different things, and I know it's kind of scary seeing your friend do all this, but trust me, it's good, because she was hurt really bad, and she needs to find something to make her feel better. She needs to try new things. So just let her do that. A lot of times we think that a relationship will complete us. We think that we're unhappy because we're not in a relationship. And then we find out when we're in a relationship, because it ends or maybe there's problems, that a relationship actually isn't some kind of holy grail. A relationship doesn't complete me the way I expected it to. I thought that being in a relationship would solve my every problem ever, but wait, why isn't it? Well, it's usually because there's something about ourselves, our relationship with ourselves, that needs some fixing. I think it sounds like your friend is just trying new things to make her feel better about herself, trying to find something that'll make her feel good. And a lot of times that, if you don't have much in your life that makes you feel good, you have to try something new. So this is exactly what your friend is doing. So as a friend, I would recommend to you that you let her do her thing. I would encourage her, as long as it's nothing dangerous. I know getting tattoos are kind of unlike her, but it's not dangerous. She's picking up a tattoo, not a heroin habit. So keep that in mind. But as long as what she's doing is healthy and within reason, just let her wings spread a little bit. She needs to grow and get over this. The reason why that relationship didn't work was because it just wasn't right person, right time. So how we get over that is by kind of giving ourselves some self-love, trying new stuff, and I would encourage her, support her, be there for her, and this way if she ever does try anything damaging, you have a strong relationship, she'll come to you. I wouldn't worry about this too much, Matt, okay? Good luck. My next email comes from Lola. She's 16 and she's from New York. Lola says, "Hello, JP Mets. Okay, so I'm very antisocial. I have my whole life planned and I have backups and I know who I am. I want to be a psychologist. But anyway, I fear myself. What I mean by that is I think I suffer from depression. About this time last year, I noticed I would get sad or angry or irritable for no reason. I thought maybe it was just PMS, but I don't get a cycle because I have PCOS. But then it got really bad and I started getting suicidal thoughts and started crying for absolutely no reason, and I contemplated killing myself, but if you ask me why, I have no idea why. After that, I had a death in the family. I was still depressed, for a reason this time, but my suicidal thoughts went away. It's been about 11 months since that horrible time in my life, but I still get really depressed and I fear myself. I fear what I might do when I'm like that because I have no control. And I've always been scared to tell someone because I really love helping people and giving advice. Being that I've been through so much in my short life so far, I know I can help people, but how can I help people when I can't even help myself? Thanks." Well, I definitely appreciated this, Lola, because I can understand how you feel. I definitely went through a period in my life where I wondered how I can help people because my own life was such a mess. I mean, it was during that time that the Advice Annex was on a bit of a hiatus, I guess, so I can understand. Well, my very first advice here for you is that you have been through an awful lot, it seems like. Lola actually included in her email a link to her YouTube page because she's having a surgery soon, and she made a page about it. And you know that you know, you didn't mention this in your email, Lola, but that is kind of a scary thing. Maybe, I don't know if you've thought about that, but I mean, I've had surgery. When I was younger, I had major surgery. In fact, I had a major surgery that went very wrong. So I had to have another surgery to fix it. There was about a 50% chance I could never walk again. So, I mean, surgery is really scary. So that could be a part of your fear. You've mentioned that you've had a death in the family relatively recently. See, these are very major life events that can certainly contribute to depression and fear. What I'm getting at is, I think it sounds like you might really need to talk to someone professional. Someone that's more than me, somebody that can actually help you. See, I know you mentioned that you don't get your cycle because of PCOS, but our hormones can wreak havoc. So that's definitely something that you might want to talk to a doctor about. You've had a death in the family recently. You might still be grieving. So these are all very valid things. That said, I'm not sure why you say that you fear yourself. Because you say that you're out of control, but if you were truly out of control, you would have acted on these suicidal thoughts that you have, and you haven't. And I know you haven't because I just went to your YouTube page and you just uploaded a video. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't want you to feel like there's so much wrong with you, and your emotional reactions to things sound very plausible. It sounds like you've just been through a lot and you're kind of struggling to cope, and it sounds like that you could benefit from talking to someone. You even said in your email to me that you weren't sure if I could help, but it sure felt good to vent. So maybe you just need someone who you can talk to this stuff about. Now, regarding how you can help people even though your own life is a mess, you definitely can do that. See, I don't have much that I can offer people. Like I say in the beginning of this entire podcast, I'm not a doctor. I don't have a degree. I like helping people too, but I also don't have money to give people. Generally, I don't. There's not much I can physically do to help, but the key is to do what you can within your circumstances. If you can find ways within your confines to be a generous person anyway, to be a helpful person anyway, just because you're poor, just because you can't drive, just because you're not a doctor, it doesn't mean that you can't reach out and help people. You can be a helpful person in general. You can find ways to help people. So I really hope this makes sense. I'll throw in a quick anecdote. I was talking to a close family member last night, and this family member, she's a Christian, and I've been kind of going through my own spiritual renaissance lately, though I'll admit I still barely know anything about Christianity. But she was saying to me, Justine, I know what I'm capable of. I know what I would do with money if the Lord would just bless me with a lot of money. I know that I would be the most generous, I'd be a philanthropist. I have all these grand ideas with what I would do with that money. So she's just kind of like waiting for the Lord to bless her with that money, and then she'll be generous. So I kind of had to point out, I was like, if from what I do understand about Christianity, it's that, or they say that God helps those that help themselves, right? Meaning, you find ways, if you want to be a philanthropist, if you want to be so helpful, you will find ways. You will find ways, and if that's the momentum that you get going, then you're going to keep being a philanthropist. You're going to keep kind of getting the resources to be able to do that, I guess. So, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is don't wait until you feel like you have everything figured out, or you have your emotions completely in balance before you can reach out and help people, because I think achieving balance is something that's kind of a day-to-day, hour-by-hour, minute-by-minute decision process to make balanced decisions. So what I'm saying is you're always gonna kind of struggle with your emotions. You might always feel a little out of balance, but you reach for ways to feel more in balance. So just don't wait until the mystical, magical ideal to start being a helpful person. All right? So I hope this makes sense. I hope this wasn't all too convoluted, but my general advice is it sounds like that you need someone qualified to talk to, and especially since I know you got a surgery coming up, Lola, so I would go and grab some help to help you out with that entire process, okay? Good luck, Lola. My next email comes from Raymond. He's 17 years old and he's from London. Raymond says, "Hi JP Mets, I still haven't come out of the closet to my friends or my parents, and it's really getting hard. The pressure is killing me. My parents are homophobic and I really just want to come clean. My mother moved to Germany last year and is thinking of returning because she really misses me. Should I tell her I'm gay and see if she still feels the same way and would like to return? Or should I just stay in the closet until I move out next year, or maybe even later? Thanks, and I love the show." Well, thank you for the compliments, Raymond. I do get a lot of questions on here about coming out, and I hope you guys realize that my advice is always going to be that I think you should come out. I don't think that there's a reason why we should ever deny our true selves, especially if the reason why we aren't doing it is because we're afraid of what other people think of us. Now, in your case, you're only 17, and I'm really sorry to hear that you have homophobic parents. If you know or have reason to believe that your parents won't be accepting of this, it is especially important to make sure that you have support outside of your parents. If you haven't come out to anyone, it might behoove you to come out to your friends first. If you're pretty certain that your family, your close family, your immediate family is not going to be supportive of this, when we have family that's not supportive of us for any reason, we kind of have to create our own family, in a sense. People, I mean, we're social creatures. We need people supporting us. So I would come out to the people that you feel the closest to first. It may not be your parents, just to make sure you have some support in case your parents aren't as accepting. So it might be an extended family member, like an aunt or an older cousin or a sibling, or maybe a friend or a friend's parents. Try to gather some support that way before you go headfirst into telling your parents everything. Now, of course, it could be maybe easier on you if you wait until you move out to tell your parents, but you are probably going to want to tell them eventually, so why not get it over with now? I mean, if they aren't accepting of this, and that's just how it's going to be. They're probably not going to be more or less accepting of it, whether or not you're in the house or not. So I always feel like no matter what, I'm not even talking about gay or lesbian teenagers that are thinking about coming out, just in general, if we don't have our parents' support, we got to have support somewhere. So I would try to kind of rally those troops first before you go head first into telling your parents. But I just don't think it's ever a good idea for us to deny our true selves just because we want to appease other people, even if that's our parents. Unfortunately, I realize it's difficult, but I think you already have probably a grasp of how difficult this kind of thing is, and I'm sorry, but I really hope that it works out to you, or it works out for you. Sorry about that, but I just think that I'm sure that there is support for you out there. You might have to reach out and find it. I hope you understand, Raymond, and I definitely wish you luck with this issue, and keep me posted. My next question comes from Mharlo, 18 years old, and from Austin, Texas. Mharlo writes, "Hello, JP Metz. So, I recently graduated from high school, and I'm feeling a bit stuck. I optioned to take a year off from school since I'm not completely sure what career path it is that I want to pursue. I come across judgment from people every single day because of this decision. My parents in particular aren't very happy with this, and I understand why. In their eyes, I've wasted my time not doing anything with my life, and they really do put a lot of pressure on me. I just don't feel comfortable making such a huge decision just because others believe that it's what's best for me. Even though college is very time/money consuming, I do understand that it's one of the best investments one can make. I'm just not sure if it's just for me yet. Do you think I should go to college even though it's not something I particularly want to do at the moment, or should I wait and try to figure out what it is I actually want to do with my life?" Well, this is a great question, Mharlo. First thing I want to say that it's extremely unlikely that in this time you're taking off that you're going to have some kind of epiphany, and you're going to know exactly what your destiny is. That's very unlikely. But one thing I can recommend is if you have no idea what you want to do, or even if college is going to be necessary with what you want to do, it is a good idea maybe to take some time off. I mean, why go to school if you're not even sure that you need to go to school? Because we all know that you can still make plenty of money if you learn a good trade, if you learn a relevant trade, something that people are always going to need, like a mechanic or a plumber. I feel like is just as viable of a career option as like a psychologist. I mean, a psychologist, you need all sorts of degrees. And you're probably ultimately going to make as much money as an experienced plumber. Maybe even less. So, it's different for everybody. So it might be a good idea to do what you're doing here, but one of the things that you can do to show your parents that you're not wasting your time right now is show that you're not wasting your time. You're using this time to learn things, to gather information about different careers. You can use this time to talk to your parents about different careers that you're thinking about, different career paths. You can talk about, say for example, you research what careers are gaining employment over time, or what careers are losing employment over time generally. For example, maybe like a tax preparation specialist. Now that is kind of it's a viable thing to go learn to do. That's helpful. You can help people file taxes. You can make some extra money, but overall that job is kind of in decline because people are doing their taxes themselves these days on the internet. Programs that are used to file taxes are getting better and better. They're less confusing, and people can just kind of do that themselves these days. So just researching what jobs are on the rise, what are on the decline. I definitely recommend that you want to try to get a job, even if it's just a stupid job, because you really kind of figure things out. Even if you're like a cashier, for example. First of all, there's possibility that you can move up. Second of all, you figure out basically what you like or don't like. You'll realize if you're comfortable relating with people, if you want a career that's kind of people-oriented. When I worked a very stupid job, which I did for many years, I did figure out that I'm kind of good at being relatable. I'm good at connecting with people. I'm understanding. I can get a sense of what somebody needs. And that was just from working at a stupid card store, but I did realize that I know this is a little unlike my JP Metz persona, but I'm kind of a people person. Like, I can figure out what people generally need or are looking for. So you learn things like that yourself that you otherwise sitting at home on the computer wouldn't learn. And plus you just become better at relating to people in general. You'll have a relationship with your boss, and you'll see what it's like having a boss kind of deal. It's even if you're doing something stupid all day, it's like it's something that you do and you try your best at, and plus you're making money. So I think getting a job, whatever kind of job you can get, is a good idea, because one, it gets your parents off your back, two, you learn a bunch of stuff, and three, I mean, you'll still have time to research what you really want to do. Just because you get a job being a cashier or a car washer, I don't know, it doesn't mean you're going to be doing that the rest of your life. You're only, how old are you? You're 18. So that I think you should do that. I wouldn't stress too much about your parents thinking you're wasting your time, because you know you're not. You know that you're the one that's ultimately going to be in charge of that student loan. So you're not ready to make that financial plunge yet. That's fine. If your parents can't understand that, whatever. But I would demonstrate to them as best you can that you do care about your future. It's not that you don't care. In fact, the reason why you're taking this reprieve is because you do care, and you're not sure if you need to go to college. And just demonstrate to them all the learning that you're doing, and just show that you're not wasting your time. Alright? That's the best thing you can do, Mharlo. I definitely wish you luck with this. I encourage you to keep me posted, okay? And that'll do it for today's Advice Annex. Now, if any of you out there, you've got a question and you could use some advice, please call me. The number is 732-529-5772. Don't be scared to call. Just do it. There's instructions. Just try to keep it short, okay? Also, you can email me if you'd rather not call. theadviceannex@gmail.com. Just remember to include your name, age, or general location. A reminder, an MP3 download of this entire episode is available in the description box of this YouTube video. So if you want to download this so you can listen to it or whatever, it's free, it's down there, you can use it. Alright? And that's it. So I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Bye. Thank you, Lola. I'm glad that this is... I was not recording at all. I was not. I read that whole thing, and how do I keep making the same mistake over and over and